Hello everyone, how are you all? I hope you're doing well. So, I welcome you again to your English class. And today we'll do chapter number 9 from your Honeysuckle book. And the name of the chapter is Desert Animals. So, before reading this chapter, I would like to ask you a few questions. Do you know the meaning of the word desert? And can you name some desert animals? Yes, as you might have studied in social studies also, that a desert is an area often covered with sand or rocks where there is very little rain and not many plants. And as we all know that it is very difficult to survive in deserts, and it's not only difficult for human beings, it's also difficult for animals to survive in such harsh conditions. So, to find out how the desert animals survive in such harsh conditions, let's read this chapter. So, look at the paragraph number 1. Deserts are the driest places on earth and sometimes go for months or even years without rain. But even the desert animals cannot survive without water or for long periods in the scorching sun, so they have had to find different ways of coping with the harsh conditions. For example, gerbils spend the hottest part of the day in cool underground burrows. So, here in this paragraph, the word survive means continue to live or exist, especially in spite of danger or hardship. The word scorching means very hot. The word harsh means unpleasant, unkind, cruel, or more severe than is necessary. The word gerbils means mouse-like desert rodents with long hind legs. Okay, have you seen gerbils? If you have, do let me know through the comment section below. So this is the picture of a gerbil. Okay, and the word burrow means a tunnel or hole in the ground that is dug by an animal, such as a rabbit. So, this paragraph tells us that deserts are the driest places on earth and they remain without rain sometimes for months or even for years. And as we all know that water is important for survival not only for human beings but also for animals. So animals cannot survive without water or for long periods in scorching sun. Okay, so animals find different ways to cope up. Cope up means to deal with the harsh conditions, to deal with the unpleasant conditions of deserts. For example, gerbils spend the hottest part of the day in underground burrows to keep themselves cool. And strange insects called darkling beetles are experts at catching drops of moisture on their legs, then lifting them into the air until the drops trickle down into their mouths. Not all deserts are endless seas of rolling sand dunes. Some are rocky or pebbly and dotted with small bushes, while others are sprinkled with colorful flowers during the spring. So here the word trickle means flow. The phrase sand dunes means heaps of sand formed by the wind. The word pebbly means stony or containing a lot of stones. The word sprinkled means covered an object or surface with small drops or particles of a substance. Now there's an insect called darkling beetle which uses a strange way to beat the heat. They drag drops of moisture from their legs, lift them in the air and drop them into their mouth. Okay. Okay, tell me one thing. How many of you have seen a darkling beetle? If you have seen, do let me know through the comment section. So this is the darkling beetle as you can see here in the picture. Okay. And moreover, all the deserts are not the hills of sand. Okay, each desert has its own features, has its own characteristics. Alright, some are stony and have a rugged surface with small bushy plants, whereas others have colorful flowers during the spring season. Now look at the paragraph number 2. There are more than 2300 different kinds of snakes around the world, ranging from just 15 centimeters long to more than 11 meters. Most snakes are quite harmless, but there are a few that are so poisonous that they can kill a human being with just one bite. Most snakes lay eggs, but there are many which give birth to their young. In the dry, rocky deserts of America lives a rather evil-looking snake with a very bad reputation. Its frightening rattle can be heard as far as 30 meters away, and it can strike with lightning speed. So here in this paragraph, the word evil means very unpleasant. The word frightening means scaring. The word rattle means sharp knocking sound produced by the part of a rattlesnake's tail. The word strike means attack, and the phrase lightning speed means very quickly. So this paragraph tells us that there are more than 2300 kinds of snakes around the world. And they range from 15 centimeters, that is the smallest size, to more than 11 meters. And do you know that most of the snakes are harmless, but there are a few that are so poisonous that they can kill a human being with just one bite. And most of the snakes lay eggs to reproduce, but there are many which give birth to their young. And there lives an evil-looking snake in the rocky deserts of America with a very bad reputation. Reputation means very bad status. And one can hear the sharp knocking sound of that snake from as far as 30 meters away, and it can attack very quickly. Now look at the paragraph number 3. But the rattlesnake, or rattler as it is sometimes called, prefers to avoid people if it possibly can. It holds its tail upright and rattles the end whenever it is disturbed, in the hope that the intruder will go away. However, if its warnings are ignored and it feels threatened, it will coil ready to bite. But the rattler itself cannot hear the noise its own tail makes. Like most snakes, it hears things through vibrations in the ground. So here in this paragraph, the word prefers means chooses. The word intruder means a person who enters a building, ground, etc. without permission. And the word vibrations means continuous, quick, slight shaking movement. So the rattlesnake, which is also called rattler, chooses to avoid people as much as possible. Okay? And if somebody disturbs the rattlesnake, it holds its tail upright and makes a sharp knocking sound in the hope that the intruder, a person who has entered the desert, will go away. Alright? But if its warnings are not paid attention to, and if it feels threatened, it will move around to bite. And do you know one thing, that the rattlers cannot hear the noise its own tail makes? Isn't it a strange thing? And like other snakes, it also hears through the vibrations produced on the ground. Means it can feel the vibration, but it cannot hear the sound. Alright? Now look at the second last line. If a person walks nearby, the snake can feel the movement. But if the same person were to shout, it would not hear a thing. Rattlesnakes are very common and widespread animals living right across the American continent from Canada to Argentina. They feed on a variety of prey including mice, voles, rats, chipmunks, and many other small animals. Rattlesnakes kill their prey with venom. Like all snakes, they swallow the unfortunate animals whole. Few snakes have to eat more than once a week, and some, such as the larger pythons, can survive for a year or more without eating. Here the word widespread means found over a large area. The word prey means an animal that is hunted and killed for food by another animal. The word voles means small plant-eating rodents. The word chipmunks means small ground squirrels having light and dark stripes. The word venom means poison, and the word swallow means to cause food, drink, pills, etc. to move from your mouth into your stomach by using the muscles of your throat. So snakes can feel the movement of a person walking nearby, but it cannot hear the voice of the same person. And rattlesnakes are very common and found across the American continent from Canada to Argentina. and they hunt different animals including mice, voles, rats, chipmunks and many other small insects for their food. Rattlesnakes kill their prey with poison, and like all other snakes, they also swallow the whole animals. And do you know few snakes have to eat more than once a week, and some others like pythons can survive for a year or more without eating. Now look at the fourth paragraph. Mongooses like to hunt together, but they always keep a lookout for dangerous predators nearby. Poking their noses into holes, overturning rocks with their paws, and scratching the ground with their sharp claws, banded mongooses are very amusing animals to watch. A common sight in many parts of Africa, they travel in groups of about 20 to forage for beetles, millipedes, and other small creatures. Here, the word predator means an animal naturally preying on others. The word poking means pushing a finger or other pointed object quickly into someone or something. The word scratching means rubbing something with its claws. Claws means sharp nails. The word amusing means interesting or enjoyable. And the word forage means search for food. Now the another desert animal about whom we'll discuss about in this chapter is a mongoose. And how many of you have seen the mongoose? If you have seen, do let me know through the comment section below. Do you remember the story that we have done from the supplementary reader book, The Friendly Mongoose? We discussed about this animal in that chapter in detail. And if you have not seen that video, you can check the link in the description box. So mongooses always like to hunt together, but they always keep a lookout. They always keep on looking for dangerous predators nearby. Alright. Actually, the banded mongooses are very interesting animals to watch. They poke their noses into holes, turn over the rocks with their paws, and scratch the ground with their sharp nails. Mongooses are very commonly found in many parts of Africa, and they travel in groups of about 20 to search for beetles, millipedes, and other small animals. Now look at the fifth paragraph. They like to hunt together, keeping in touch whenever they go out of sight behind rocks or bushes by twittering and calling. Always on the lookout for danger, hawks, eagles, and large snakes, they warn one another with a special alarm call if they spot anything suspicious. So here in this paragraph, the phrase out of sight means out of the range of vision, the word twittering means sharp sounds, and the word suspicious means doubtful. So as we discussed that the mongooses move in groups to search for their food, but if they need to move to places which are not visible like at the back of bushes or rocks, they make sounds like twittering to stay in touch. And they always keep themselves away from dangerous animals like hawks, eagles and large snakes. And if they notice anything doubtful, they make a special warning call to alert one another. Now look at the paragraph number 6. Mongooses are famous for being able to kill snakes without getting hurt themselves. Their reactions are so fast that they can dodge each time the snake strikes. They continually make a nuisance of themselves until, after a while, when the snake gets tired, they quickly dive in for the kill. Here the word dodge means move quickly to avoid its enemy. The word strikes means attacks. The word nuisance means problem, and the word dive means jump. So as we all know that mongooses are very famous for being able to kill snakes, and they don't even get hurt while doing so. Their reactions are actually very fast and they can move quickly after attacking the snake. Actually, mongooses continually keep disturbing the snake with their attacks until it gets tired and gets killed. Look at the paragraph number 7 now. All the female mongooses have their kitten at about the same time. They are raised by the whole group in a den made inside an old termite mound or hollow log. When most of the adults are out looking for food, one or two males stay behind to stand guard until the others return for the night. So here in this paragraph, the word mound means heap, the word den means the home of particular types of wild animal, and the phrase hollow log means a piece of wood having a hole in it. So all the female mongooses have their young ones. Kitten means young ones, and these young ones are raised by the whole group in a den, which is made inside an old termite heap or a hollow log. Okay. So this is the termite mound, as you can see here in the picture. This is the heap of termite. Okay. And when most of the adults are out looking for food, one or two males, they stay behind to take care of these young ones until others return for the night. Now look at the paragraph number 8. Another animal which lives in the desert is the camel. Camels were first domesticated by people many thousands of years ago. In the wild, camels usually live in small groups of up to 30 animals. Camels have long, shaggy winter coats to keep warm and shorter, tidier coats in the summer to keep cool. A thirsty camel can drink as much as 30 gallons of water, that's about 500 full glasses, in just 10 minutes. Normally, however, it gets all the moisture it needs from the desert plants and can survive up to 10 months without drinking any water at all. So here the word domesticated means tamed and kept as a pet. The word shaggy means having or covered with long, rough and untidy hair. And the word tidier means well ordered and clean. Now the another famous desert animal is a camel. Camels were actually first tamed by people many thousands of years ago. And camels usually live in small groups of up to 30 animals, and they have long shaggy coats to keep themselves warm during winter and shorter tidier coats in the summer to keep themselves cool. And can you imagine that a thirsty camel can drink as much as 30 gallons of water? Gallons, as you can see, this is the gallon of water. So 30 gallons means about 500 full glasses in just 10 minutes. And camels can survive up to 10 months without drinking any water at all. And normally they get all the moisture from desert plants. Now look at the last paragraph. There are two different kinds of camel. One, known as the dromedary, has only a single hump. The other is called a Bactrian camel and has two humps. The humps help the animal to survive in the desert by acting as storage containers. But they don't store water, as many people wrongly believe. They are full of fat. This fat nourishes the camels when food is scarce. If they have nothing to eat for several days, their humps shrink as the fat is used up. There are many other ways in which camels are adapted to desert life. Their mouths are so tough that even the sharp thorn cannot pierce through. Here the word survive means live, the word nourishes means provides with the food, the word scarce means in short supply, the word shrink means become smaller in size or amount, the word adapted means adjusted, and the word pierce means to go into or through something, making a hole in it using a sharp point. So there are basically two different kinds of camels. One is known as dromedary, which has a single hump, and the other is called a Bactrian camel, which has two humps. So how many of you have seen the camel with a single hump? If you have seen, do let me know through the comment section. And these humps basically help the camel to survive in the desert by acting as storage containers, and basically these humps do not contain water. The camels do not store water in these humps as believed by many people. Actually, these humps are full of fat. And this fat basically acts as a food for camels when the food is in short supply. And when the camels don't have anything to eat for many days, their humps shrink. They become smaller in size, which indicates that the fat is used up. Means they have used that fat as their food. And apart from this, there are many other ways in which camels are adapted. They are adjusted to desert life. Their mouths are so tough that even the sharp thorn cannot pierce through, cannot go through their mouth. So these were just some of the desert animals which were discussed in this chapter, and I hope you have understood everything. So this is all for today, and we'll meet once again in a new video with a new topic. Till then, take care, stay home, stay safe. Thank you.